GenAI and MLOps Part 8. This episode has 14 questions. For each question, take a moment to think through your own answer before I share a strong approach. Question 1. GenAI or VectorDB? What is a vector database and when would you use one? Here's a strong way to approach it. A vector database stores embeddings and supports similarity search. I would use one when I need semantic retrieval over documents, runbooks, tickets, product docs, source code, or knowledge bases. Examples include Pinecone, Weviate, Milvus, Chroma, Vector, Vertex AI Vector Search, and OpenSearch Vector Search. In production, I care about metadata filtering, access control, indexing strategy, update pipeline, latency, cost, backup, and observability. Nice. Let's continue. Question 2. GenAI or RAG? How would you improve retrieval quality in a RAG system? Here's a strong way to approach it. I would improve retrieval by cleaning source documents, choosing good chunk sizes, preserving metadata, using hybrid search with keyword plus vector search, adding re-ranking, filtering by tenant or document type, and testing different embedding models. I would also evaluate retrieval separately from generation using golden question-answer sets. Poor RAG answers often come from poor retrieval, stale documents, missing metadata, or chunks that are too small or too large. Great. Moving on. Question 3. GenAI or prompt engineering? What is prompt engineering and what makes a prompt production ready? Here's a strong way to approach it. Prompt engineering is designing instructions and context so the model responds in the desired format and behavior. A production-ready prompt is version-controlled, tested, measurable, and constrained. It should define role, task, input format, output format, refusal behavior, citation requirements, and safety rules. I would avoid hidden tribal prompts living only in code. Prompts should go through review, evaluation, rollback, and monitoring like application logic. Alright, next question. Question 4. GenAI or model selection? How would you choose between OpenAI, Gemini, Claude, open-source LLMs, or self-hosted models? Here's a strong way to approach it. I would choose based on use case, quality, latency, cost, data privacy, compliance, region availability, context length, tool calling support, multimodal needs, operational complexity, and vendor risk. Managed APIs are faster to adopt and usually stronger for quality, while open source or self-hosted models can help with data control, customization, or cost at scale. For production, I would run evaluations against real tasks before deciding, rather than choosing by popularity. Let's keep going. Question 5. GenAI or fine-tuning? What is the difference between RAG and fine-tuning? Here's a strong way to approach it. RAG provides external knowledge at query time by retrieving relevant context. Fine-tuning changes model behavior or style by training on examples. RAG is better when the knowledge changes often, such as policies, runbooks, product docs, or tickets. Fine-tuning is better when the model needs to follow a specific format, tone, classification behavior, or domain pattern. Many production systems use RAG first, and only fine-tune when evaluation shows a clear need. On to the next one. Question 6. GenAI or agents? What are AI agents and what risks do they introduce in production? Here's a strong way to approach it. AI agents use an LLM to plan steps, call tools, inspect results, and continue until a goal is completed. They can be useful for support workflows, code assistance, or operational investigation, but they introduce risks because the model may choose wrong tools, repeat actions, leak data, or perform unsafe changes. In production, agent tools must be permission scoped, audited, rate limited, human approved for risky operations, and protected with strong guardrails. Good. Here's another one. Question 7. GenAI or tools? How does tool calling or function calling work in GenAI applications? Here's a strong way to approach it. Tool calling allows the model to request a structured function call instead of only generating text. For example, the model can call get incident details, search runbooks, create ticket, or query Kubernetes events with typed arguments. The application executes the function and returns results to the model. This pattern is powerful because it connects LLMs to real systems, but it requires validation, authorization, audit logs, timeouts, and safe tool design. Nice. Let's continue. Question 8. GenAI or evaluation. How would you evaluate the quality of an LLM application? Here's a strong way to approach it. I would evaluate it at multiple levels: retrieval quality, answer correctness, groundedness, completeness, safety, latency, cost, and user satisfaction. I would build a golden data set of real user questions and expected answers, run regression tests on prompt or model changes, and use human review for critical workflows. Automated metrics can help, but for enterprise GenAI, human evaluation and task-specific acceptance criteria are very important. Great. Moving on. Question 9. GenAI or hallucination. What is hallucination in LLMs and how would you reduce it? Here's a strong way to approach it. Hallucination means the model generates an answer that sounds confident but is incorrect or unsupported. I would reduce it by using RAG, requiring citations, instructing the model to say when information is missing, limiting the answer to retrieved context, improving retrieval quality, using lower temperature for factual tasks, and evaluating against known answers. For high-risk workflows, I would keep human approval and avoid letting the model take direct action without verification. Alright, next question. Question 10. GenAI or safety. What safety and guardrail controls would you add to a GenAI application? Here's a strong way to approach it. I would add input filtering, output filtering, prompt injection detection, sensitive data redaction, policy checks, role-based access, tenant isolation, citation requirements, refusal rules, audit logs, human approval for risky actions, and monitoring for unsafe or low-confidence outputs. Guardrails should not be only prompt text. They should also exist in application code, gateway controls, retrieval filtering, and tool permissions. Let's keep going. Question 11. GenAI or security. What are prompt injection and data leakage risks in GenAI applications? Here's a strong way to approach it. Prompt injection happens when a user or document tries to override the system instructions, for example telling the model to ignore previous rules or reveal secrets. Data leakage happens when sensitive information is included in prompts, retrieved context, logs, outputs, or third-party model calls without proper controls. I reduce these risks with retrieval access control, secret redaction, instruction hierarchy, output checks, tool permission boundaries, and careful logging. On to the next one. Question 12. GenAI or privacy. How would you protect sensitive data when using LLM APIs? Here's a strong way to approach it. I would classify data before sending it to an LLM, avoid sending secrets or unnecessary PI, redact sensitive fields, use approved providers and regions, review data retention policies, encrypt data in transit and at rest, and apply access controls. For enterprise systems, I would add audit logs, tenant isolation, DLP checks, and legal or compliance approval. For highly sensitive workloads, I may use a private model endpoint or self-hosted model. Good. Here's another one. Question 13. LLM ops or architecture. How would you design a production architecture for a GenAI chatbot using RAG? Here's a strong way to approach it. I would use a frontend or chat API, backend orchestration service, identity provider, document ingestion pipeline, embedding service, vector database, metadata store, LLM provider, cache, and observability stack. The ingestion pipeline would chunk and embed approved documents with metadata and access rules. At query time, the backend authenticates the user, retrieves only authorized context, re-ranks results, calls the LLM, returns citations, and logs metrics. Production controls include rate limits, safety filters, cost budgets, fallback behavior, and evaluation pipelines. Nice. Let's continue. Question 14. LLM ops or CI/CD. How would you design CI or CD for prompts, chains, and GenAI application code? Here's a strong way to approach it. I would version prompts, retrieval configuration, chain logic, and application code together. CI should run unit tests, prompt regression tests, golden dataset evaluations, security checks, and cost or latency checks where possible. Deployment should promote changes through environments, compare quality scores, support rollback, and record which prompt or model or index version produced each answer. Prompt changes can break behavior just like code changes, so they need review and release discipline. Great, moving on. That wraps up this episode. Nice work practicing, and see you in the next one.